everyone, welcome back to Alkaline Hydroxide 784, and today is for the Project University episode 4. This will be the advice video, and in this video I will tell you, I'll maybe just give you some ideas of what you can do after A levels. Yeah, I mean, it is actually quite important too, even though it's not directly relevant to your university life. It is also quite useful to to know what the best thing you can do after A levels. But of course, before I start, I do understand that this is more relevant for girls than for guys, because we all know what happens to them into at least in January onwards. But if you're a guy who's enlisting later, then maybe some of these may be useful for you as well. But anyways, yeah, so I'm just gonna tell you some stuff you could technically do after the A levels, and what are the potential benefits or cons of doing them as well. Okay, so the first thing you can do is, of course, the most obvious thing a lot of people end up doing is doing a part-time job or going to do some work or something. And yeah, okay, that's good. It doesn't have to necessarily be something that's in your preferred field of work or something, because that would be quite hard to do until you get into university and do internships and stuff like that. But it's I think it's useful if you want to just get a taste of what it is like to work, and or to get extra money. um yeah, there's nothing really much to say about it. The benefit is that you get money, but the con is you had to actually go and do the work. And for some people, right after spending a lot of time studying, you don't want to follow anything that has a schedule. And you may not want to do this. You may want to spend the time to do something else that you're very passionate about, something that requires more flexible timings and things like that. And even though part-time work technically is supposed to be flexible, it still can be, because sometimes you may take something that's not exactly a part-time but more of a full day kind of thing, and it may prevent you from doing other things. So yeah, that's this your own choice. I think that's an important thing here, that whatever you do, you must make sure you actually want to do it. Don't do something you don't want to do unless you have no choice. Well, then I guess you can do anything about that. But if you do have the choice, make sure that it is your own choice and not someone else's choice. Okay, so yeah, so work, apart from money, you can get some experience about interacting with other people, because after A levels, everyone suddenly decides to not talk in WhatsApp, and um you know you might want to find some new people to talk to. So yeah, this is a good place to find new people to talk to, maybe. Depending on what you're doing, sometimes you can't really talk, but okay. Anyways, and I think another point is, the first thing that people usually think of when it comes to part-time work is to go to McDonald's or something. I feel like that's not really the best thing to be doing, because one, it's I mean, if you want to do it, then go ahead and do it. But if you're not the kind who wants to, if you have other options, then do go for those other options that are more, it doesn't, I mean, it's not because this is more physically demanding or anything, but because, as I said earlier, the other options may give you more chance to communicate with people, like your colleagues, I mean, not customers. Like communicate with colleagues, or to have a more pleasant working day, I guess. So in the end of the day, you decide what you want to do. Anyway, let's move on. I spoke too long about this. Okay, so the next thing you can do is continue doing what you used to do, like your hobbies and things like that. Like for example, if you like to read books during a vacation, now you have an extremely long period of vacation. You can read as many books as you want. in that period of time, or if you like to do some particular sport or art or anything, any kind of hobby, you can you have all the time to do it now. And if you want to pursue it to a higher level or something, you have time to do it in the sense. And of course, the benefit of doing it is that you can relieve all your stress from the A levels because it's something that you like to do, something that you're very familiar with, and it doesn't stress you out or anything. And it also depending on the kind of hobby, you can also learn new things, expand your horizons a bit. Um, and if it involves creativity, you can also practice a bit of that instead of just doing, like, after doing so much of memorization and something not super creative, you get to do something a lot more creative or a lot more freestyle in the sense. So yeah, so hobbies can be literally anything. Even if your hobby is watching dramas, I'm fine. You can do it because it's your time. You can choose to do it. But what I would like to say is don't spend your entire day doing it, because if you do it for too long, it becomes like, if from a hobby, it becomes more of a overloading of something, like you keep doing the thing, then you get tired of it. So don't overdo it. Do other things as well, like what you usually do in your everyday life. Do your other things and also do this, but with a bit more uh, you can put more effort or more thought into doing it than usual, because during the A levels you probably didn't even have time to do your hobbies, but now you can do it. Yeah. So that's one of the other things you can do after the A levels. Okay, so the third thing is slightly different from hobbies, but has a similar vibe to it, which is your passions. Pursue any passion that you wanted to pursue, but you couldn't do it during the A level studying period and all that. Um, by passions, it can be something that you've been thinking about for a long time, and it can be related to your hobby as well, or it can be other things that you wanted to finish in at this point of time in your life. You want to do something, like maybe do some particular exam, or to make a really cool art piece, or do something like that, anything, or go to a certain place or anything, stuff like that in general. So if you have a certain, like a short time kind of goal that you wanted to finish, you can do it in this period of time, especially if it has enough time for you to actually finish this goal. So yeah, you can use it to finish up, do your goals, also pursue your passions, or see whether you are actually into that thing. And or if you want to try something new, this is the time to do it. You definitely have enough time to do trial and error and figure out what you like to do, because I feel like in university you'll have a more flexible schedule, and this period of time before university is the time where you can figure out how to do that flexible scheduling along with these other things. And yeah, so of course, in another thing that I mentioned, in lieu of the other stuff, is traveling. I mean, not everyone likes to travel, but if traveling is your hobby or your passion or whatever, you can take the time to travel. But more than more than talking about traveling itself, if you need to meet people or go and see your family, you can do it in this period of time. Or you can travel with your family, make new memories, or with your friends, although not everyone does that. But if you are able to travel with your friends, good for you. uh, yeah, so there's a lot of things you can actually do after the A levels. I mean, if you decide not to do either of those things and just waste your time, and that's up to you as well. But I don't understand how you would be able to waste time when you feel so bored after after the A levels. So choose something to do. And the reason is because like, this is a huge gap at the end of it you need to go back to doing some studying, doing stuff in general. So I I feel like wasting your time isn't a good idea. You should definitely have something that you do, like you keep yourself preoccupied with, like some kind of project, your personal projects that you want to finish. It doesn't have to be related to studying, but it just has to be something that involves some kind of work to it, because it will keep your mind active and you get the practice of doing stuff on time, having a schedule, doing things like that. So I think that's the important I think that is what I would advise you to do. Like you should definitely have something that you should have a schedule for, and you execute it according to a schedule. And speaking of schedules, I think that is the easiest way to organize your stuff. If you actually have a lot of things that you want to do in this period of time, and you want to make sure to have time for each and everything, since you don't have a timetable anymore, you can create your own timetable. You can decide how you want to do things and then experiment and then see whether it works. So if it works, then just go with it, I guess. And as you do that experimentation, you should see whether the time that you spend or the effort that you take to do these things is worth it for the contentment that you get from these activities. So because if you over stress yourself but you're not content, I mean, you're not supposed to be stressed, uh, after the A levels you're not supposed to be stressed, but if you end up stressing out, then there's a problem, I guess. um yeah, so do take note of that. If you really need to take a break, then just take a break and waste your time. I'm not gonna complain, but of course after that maybe start doing something. and yes, this comes this brings us to the last point, which is that this is a break from studying, but use it meaningfully. I mean, you can choose to waste the first week or so, but after that, do something meaningful with your time, especially if you're not going to enlist or anything. I mean, if you have 6 months of time, then you might as well use it in some meaningful way or the other. And you don't have to be doing the exact same thing for those 6 months. You can do all sorts of different things and have a different goal for each set of for this particular time period, and then go on to the next goal. So I think yeah, I guess that's what my advice is. So what should you do after the A levels? Well, you can relax, you can have fun, but also pursue something that is meaningful to you, and something that uses up your time wisely instead of purely wasting your time. You can do wasting your time, but also do something meaningful. And if you'd like to know what I did during that, what I'm still doing now and all that, you can listen to the so-called blog video related to this. And with that, if you enjoyed or if you found this video very useful, please press the like button and subscribe. And uh yeah, as always, I don't actually have anything else to say. So thank you and bye.